The time being 6:01, I'd like to call the Board of Health meeting to order. All members are present. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May be seated.
A little bit better than the last time flag.
Yes, yeah, much bigger flag this week. First item on our agenda are announcements from the health department. I'm going to turn things over to our health agent, Chris Schultz.
Just to remind everybody that flu shots and COVID booster shots are available in the health department. You can sign up online through the town website or our Facebook page. If you're not tech savvy, you can give us a call at 781-982-2119 and we'll schedule you for an appointment. The only other current announcement from the health department is just a reminder. I think I mentioned last week, health department will be closed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week while our staff attends the Massachusetts Environmental Health Association's annual conference. So leave us a message, we'll get back to you.
That's it? Okay. Any questions for the health department? Great. All right. Moving on. First discussion action item, our discussion on the response from town council on the tobacco regulations. We did get a response this time. Yay.
Okay.
And I'm going to read it because it's kind of funny. I don't see that language as having been crossed out by me. I have no issues with that provision and may be inserted on paragraph B on page 8 if we wish to do so. Please let me know if you have any questions. So the section regarding reducing the number of licenses is fine. We can stick that in to section on page 8 under paragraph B, which we'll do, and then we're good to go. So
awesome.
I think that was the only question we had for things. So with that in mind, I wanted to ask the board if the date of October 16th, which is the third Monday, of October, would work for our public hearing on that regulation. I don't know if we can do action on it or if we just kind of all agree, but if that date works. It's more than 2 weeks' notice. We can start doing that now, so give us plenty of time to get that posting going.
Yes.
So,
Works.
good. Okay. I don't see any objections, so we're not going to take any actions on that. So that's what we'll do. I have an announcement sort of drafted. I'll work with the health department. We'll get that out. It basically just says we're going to talk about these regulations, and we'll post it on the website so people can link to them and see them. We'll talk to Abington News. We'll get them posted in there as we're supposed to, and the newspaper, and we'll go from there. So.
Great.
Would
Thanks.
the board like me to contact the individual tobacco retailers and let them know?
I think that's a good idea. I don't know what
I
everybody else
think
thinks.
why not? Keep
If,
lines of communication open.
Yep, and I mean, we're going to basically, I think the way that we should handle those is we're going to have the two separate regulations. We can kind of, in the same night, hold the two different hearings just separately. So we'll have a hearing for one regulation, hearing for the other. If we have one's shorter than the other, so I don't think the discussion is going to be as long on both of them, and probably a lot of the conversation, if any, will cross over. So we'll handle that at the one meeting there. That way, we're not asking retailers or anybody to come to multiple things and drag it out any longer than it needs to be. So, all right. So October 16th, we'll do 6 o'clock is when we'll start. It'll basically start like a normal meeting, and we'll go right into those hearings. We'll leave the agenda pretty light for just that. All right. Great. Moving on, an overview of the process for creating stable regulations in Abington. This is going to be mostly Chris. It looks like attached here we do have a copy of Mass General Laws for stable regulations. I know this is something that we've been talking about. We need to get done, sort of thing. So, Chris, I will turn this over to you to kind of give us an update.
So in the process of being involved in the Public Health Excellence Grant, a couple of things have come to our attention. Recently, we started permitting funeral directors, which is a state requirement for all local boards of health. One reason or another, Abington never did. Same goes for stable regulations. According to Chapter 111, Section 155 of Massachusetts General Law, local boards of health are responsible for having stable regulations. And Abington, God bless it, does not. I believe we have maybe 3 or 4 stables in Abington, so it's not a big demand. So from what I read in this, it really doesn't address the actual regulations itself, other than whatever the fee is has to be determined at town meeting. So what I was going to propose to do was take a look at our neighbors who do have stable regs in place, kind of see what the norm is, and then reach out to our individual stable owners Because obviously, if we pass regulations, anybody that is not with in violation of those would have to be grandfathered in because they were there prior to us having regs. So I figure once our tobacco stuff is settled, it might be good for the board to take a look at that.
So just to clarify, we set the regulation, but the fee has to be set by town meeting? Or
Yeah,
does we make a regulation that we propose at town meeting?
All it says in here is the fee for such license shall be established in a town meeting.
Okay.
And it can't be greater than $40.
Yep.
Okay.
And I mean, I would suggest if we end up doing this, we do the same thing we do with the funeral directors, which is giving everybody a pass for the first year and then, following up the year after that.
Okay. So we'll need to probably have some wording for that and make sure we're cognizant of when those windows are closing, so we make sure we get something into town meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, when's our regular annual town meeting? I think is in April, so.
Usually in January, the law
January,
closes.
February,
January.
yeah.
Articles have to be.
Oh,
usually
yeah.
like
Yeah.
mid-January.
But if we, like November time frame is when we start looking at it, assuming
Locking it down,
tobacco's
yeah.
thing, that should be plenty of time. So, okay, great. Anything you wanted to add or any questions?
So would we, because for stables to already be here, just so I understand this, and in case anyone, they're mostly regulated by like building, and land use. Like this would just be if you wanted specifically a stable defined as such, you would pay $25 once to build it, or is it yearly?
I'm not sure, and that might be up to us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be curious what other towns do.
I would presume a commercial stable would probably should be permitted annually, but I don't know about it. I don't think we have any commercial stables in Abington. I think they're all private.
Right, so that might be something in the regulations of like if it's for private
Yeah, and
homeowner use or for people coming onto the property or like I'd be curious. I'm just curious. Like I know like I have like chickens. We don't have like chicken regulation, but I know like the structure I built for them, there's certain parameters that it falls under and noise ordinance it falls under. So like I'm assuming the stables kind of are basically like the same idea.
Yeah, from when I glanced through this before, when it first came to my attention, it seems like as far as the health department is concerned, we're generally looking at placement of the stable in relation to septic systems and private wells.
Right, and then building a structure based on like property lines.
Yeah,
There's already restrictions there, so that covers that.
Yeah. Oh, and
But-
this is, I think, similar to the conversation we had with tobacco, where it's like there's the zoning laws that dictate where a business can go, but then there's the health department, public health,
Right.
that goes into play, and those don't always have to necessarily agree with each other or work
Yeah.
with each other. So I don't know if we probably have to look at what some of the other towns do. Maybe that's what this is more
Yeah.
about. It's like, oh, okay, is it safe to do it? Then is it legal to do it? And those are two separate things that
Exactly,
a
yeah, like
commercial
they got
property
it from
owner
us and then they're building it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I was just curious. It's, this thing was made in 1895,
Yeah.
May 4th, so.
So glad we're getting on this. Right,
$40 in 1895, which today is how
Um,
much?
So, okay. Any other questions or anything on this matter? No. All right. So we will continue on this.
Yeah, number of
We'll
animal storage, handling, manure. Okay.
pick
so
it up
it's
on
all-
it again in probably November. Pretty much
Okay.
once we take any action on the tobacco or
Yep.
decide what we're going to do, we'll go from there. Okay. And I don't envision it to be crazy because if this is a long regulation, it'll surprise me. But
And there's plenty of towns near us that have, personal stables and commercial stables that we can use as examples. So.
yeah, and I'm sure the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards has got things available, so we're not going to be reinventing the wheel here.
Cool.
All right, next is approving the minutes of September 11th. I know those were just provided because of some issues with printing and sending things out, so if you do want to take a second to read, I'll hold off on action for a moment. I can just skim through.
I'll make a motion to approve as written.
Motion to approve is written by Kevin. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Second, Clay, I'm looking at you first, so
Sure.
we'll go with that. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That was almost longer than a meeting.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay.
That was on me, sorry.
Public comment? Do you have any comment, public? No? Okay. All right. And correspondence. Does the board or the health department have any correspondence you want to share?
Not really. I will mention, just because this happened just before the meeting, We have a complaint form on the town website for people that have health concerns or health department issues. They can file a complaint anonymously or give their contact information. So I just want to let people know if you're concerned about a friend or a neighbor living in an apartment. I certainly encourage people to make reports, but please understand that we can't investigate a private domicile, whether it's a rental or a owned property, without the permission of the occupants. So if you have a concern about living conditions of a friend or a family member, speak to them, give them our contact information, or give us theirs so that we can act on that. Help us help you. So,
Thank you. And nobody from the board? All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Kevin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Amanda. Any further? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Great.